What you're looking at is Audi making a statement they haven't made in decades. The 2027 Audi Nuvolari isn't another RS badge or slightly faster e-tron GT. This is Audi going all in, building the fastest, most powerful, and most expensive production car in their entire history. And they did it in 405 days. 405 days from a blank sheet to a running, driving prototype. That's less time than most brands take to facelift a bumper. The result is limited to 499 units worldwide, priced from around £500,000. And if you want one, I've got bad news. Deposits are already being taken and production starts next year with first deliveries happening within 12 months of that. So why the name Nuvolari? Because Audi doesn't throw heritage names around. Tazio Nuvolari was a pre-war Italian racing driver that Enzo Ferrari himself called the greatest driver of the past, present, and future. He won in everything, in any conditions, and he drove for Auto Union, the company that became Audi. So when Audi puts that name on the back of a car, you know it has to be special. And the spec sheet backs it up. This is a hybrid, but forget everything you think about hybrids being sensible. You get a twin-turbo 4.0-liter V8 in the middle, and then Audi adds 3 electric motors, one on the rear axle and one for each front wheel. Total system output is 1,001 horsepower. That's 1,001 metric horsepower, on 987 brake horsepower if you still think in old money. 0 to 62 miles per hour takes 2.6 seconds. Top speed is north of 217 miles per hour. Those are numbers that put it in the same conversation as a Ferrari SF90, a Lamborghini Revuelto, and the McLaren 750S, except this is 4 rings on the nose. And yes, I said Lamborghini. The Nuvolari uses the underpinnings and the V8 from its sister brand's Temerario. But Audi didn't just rebadge a Lambo and call it a day. They developed their own chassis tuning, their own software, and their own tech that Lamborghini doesn't get. The headline is Quattro Predictive Ride. Every performance AWD system you've ever driven is reactive. It senses slip and then moves torque around. Predictive Ride tries to see into the future. It uses forward-facing cameras, GPS data, and chassis sensors to read the road surface, the camber, the radius of the next corner, and it preloads the torque vectoring and adaptive suspension before you even turn in. On track, that means the car is setting up a corner exit while you're still trail braking. On a B road, it means you can get on the power earlier than your brain says you should, and the front E-motors just pull you through. This is the first time an Audi road car will rotate instead of understeer by default, and if you've driven fast Audis before, you know how big that statement is. Let's talk about why that matters. For 40 years, Quattro meant safety, meant all-weather grip, meant crushing Autobahn miles. But it also meant understeer if you pushed too hard on track. IS4, IS6, even the i8, they all had that final push when you asked too much. The Nuvolari is Audi admitting that and fixing it. Because with a motor on each front wheel, you don't just send power to the outside wheel. You actively drag the inside front wheel with regging, or overspeed the outside, and the car pivots. You feel it in the steering. It goes light right before the apex because the front is pulling you around the corner, not plowing through it. That's a revolution for Audi. The design matters too because this is a debut of Audi's new design philosophy. Everything you see on the Nuvolari, the ultra-low single-frame grille that's wider than it is tall, the razor-thin digital OLED lights that can change their signature, the clean surfacing with these massive air channels cut into the doors, all of it is going to trickle down to the next A6, the next Q8, the next IS6. The profile is pure mid-engine supercar, cab forward, short overhangs, huge diffuser, and an active full-width rear wing that stays hidden until you need it. The front-end lift is reduced by 3.3% versus what they benchmarked, and overall drag is down 1%, which sounds small until you're doing 217 miles per hour and every percent counts. The wheels are Centerlock forged units wrapped in bespoke Pirelli P0 Trofeo RS tires, and because this is a £500,000 Audi, you can spec exposed carbon, matte paint, or heritage liveries that call back to the Auto Union silver arrows that Nuvolari actually raced. Step inside and it's strictly 2 seats. No 2+2 compromise here. The cabin is built around a 3D knit carbon monocoque that cocoons the driver, and every surface you touch is carbon fiber, aluminum, or hand-stitched leather. Audi hasn't shown the full interior yet, but if the Bentley Continental GT Supersports is anything to go by, expect a driver-focused curved OLED display, a passenger screen for telemetry, and the kind of material quality that makes a Bugatti feel plasticky. The steering is a yoke, but not because it's trendy. The stay-by-wire system varies the ratio so aggressively that you never need more than 180 degrees of lock, even in a hairpin. There's no mechanical connection to the front wheels. It's all signals, which sounds scary until you realize F1 cars have been doing it for years. And yes, there's still a red start button on the wheel with a carbon safety cover, because some traditions deserve to stay. Flip it up, press it, and the V8 doesn't immediately scream. In comfort, it actually starts silent. The car defaults to EV mode, and you roll away on the front motors while the V8 stays off. That's how you leave your neighborhood at 6 a.m. without your neighbors filing a noise complaint. Driving it, the weirdest thing is the duality. Leave it in EV mode and it'll do about 30 miles on silent electric power, with the V8 completely shut off. The ride is compliant. The cabin is quiet, and you could genuinely take this to the shops. The suspension uses those new damper pistons that are 26.6% larger for better responsiveness, so even on 20-inch wheels it doesn't crash over potholes. Click it into RS Performance and the whole car tenses up. The V8 fires with a bark that shakes a carbon tub, the suspension drops 15 millimeters, the aero goes into attack mode, and the E-motors pre-spool. Now you've got instant torque from the front axle pulling you out of corners while the V8 punches you in the back, and the soundtrack is this wild mix of twin-turbo V8 wail behind your head and high-frequency electric whine from the front. The gearbox is an 8-speed dual-clutch, but the E-motors fill every gap, so it feels like one endless surge. The carbon ceramic brakes are tied into a new energy recuperation system, so every time you brake late, you're charging the battery for the next straight. And because there's a motor on each front wheel, the stability control can brake individual wheels and add torque to others mid-corner. It feels like the car has claws. Let's talk about the competition for a second, because you have to. SF90XX, Revuelto, 750S, maybe the new AMG GT Black Series hybrid if that ever happens. The Nuvolari isn't the lightest. All those motors and batteries mean it's probably over 1,700 kilograms, but it's the smartest. It's the one that makes 1,000 horsepower usable on a damp British beer road in November. It's the one your partner could drive to dinner without needing a racing license. And it's the one that, 20 years from now, people will point to and say that's when Audi stopped playing it safe. So who buys this? At £500,000 and 499 units, it's a collector's for Audi diehards who lived through the R8 era and want the ultimate version of that story, and for people who want Temerario performance but with Audi build quality and Audi ergonomics. It's also a message. In 2027, when every brand is shouting about electric SUVs and mobility solutions, Audi just dropped a 1,001 horsepower V8 hybrid mid-engine supercar named after the greatest driver who ever lived. It's a halo car in the truest sense. It exists to make you fall in love with Audi again. And here's the thing that gets me. This might be the last one. Emissions regs, noise regs, EV mandates. The window for cars like this is closing. The fact Audi chose to spend 405 days building this, instead of another Q model, tells you everything about their priorities. They could have played it safe. They didn't. If this got you excited, smash that like button so YouTube knows people still care about cars that make your heart rate spike. Comment what spec you'd order. I'm going exposed carbon with silver aerographics and the track pack, magnesium wheels, and the lightweight fixed back seats. And subscribe, because when Audi lets us hear this thing at full throttle or puts it on the Nürburgring, you'll want to be here first. The 2027 Audi Nuvolari isn't just another fast car. It's Audi proving they still know how to build a legend. And honestly, the car world is better for it. I'll see you in the next one.